All right, welcome everybody to this planning board meeting, Wednesday, January 21st. First item on our agenda. Why am I hearing? Yeah, there we go.
Myself.
All right. First item on our agenda is a roll call. Tonight we have Ashley Case, we've got Lisa Buck, myself, Phil Ruck, we've got Judd McIntosh, Michael Costello, John Beckett, and Krista Swinzer on the end. Next up is acceptance of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Very good. Second, any additions? EJ, were you able to get that item you wanted? I saw it on here. You had emailed me adding something. Is this current? Got it. All right, no other comments? All those in favor? All right. Next up is approval of the minutes of the September 17th, 2025 and December 17th, 2025 planning board meetings. And we kicked the meeting minutes from the 17th to this meeting because we didn't have a quorum for the people that attended that meeting. We still don't have a quorum, as I understand it, because Bob Bear is absent. So we're gonna move this again. I don't remember. Do I need a? I think we need a motion to move it, right?
To table it?
Yeah. Let's. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Very good. Second? Second. All right, we're all set. All those in favor of bumping it to the next meeting? That's just the September 17th minutes. All right, next up is approval of the planning board minutes from Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. We do have a quorum for that. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Very good. Second? All right, any comments? I just, yeah, I guess we'll deal with that. I didn't have any. I did have some on the other ones. You can save some time by doing a find and replace Ashley Beckett versus Ashley Case. So take a look at the September 17th and you can correct that by the next meeting. There we go. Save you some grief next time. All right, any edits on the December 17th?
No.
Anything? No edits. Wow. Nice. Good job, Maddie. Okay, as presented, all those in favor? All right, next up, we have a public hearing under new business. We have one public hearing. It's a public hearing and decision for a minor site plan review application of Timothy Kulikowski. Hope I got that somewhat right. To establish a home occupation, medical office within one of the existing structures at 63 Bennick Road, tax map 19-4, lot 7 in the MDR zoning district. And just so you folks know, we typically have the applicant come up, present the project, explain to us what they propose to do. We get a little feedback from town staff, and then we'll open it up for public hearing. But first up, comments from the board, a little bit of review. So I'm guessing you're the applicant. All right, could you stand up, tell us who you are and what you propose, please?
And I don't know how much lapse, but what you have.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Well, in the past, we've actually had some preparatory marks. Oh, I guess EJ, you're ready to go.
Sure.
Are we gonna stick with that process, or are we gonna have applicants? I was under the impression that we were gonna revert back to our.
We're going to do a little bit of a hybrid.
Okay.
I can queue up and go through our responses and then allow Mr. Kulikowski to share his additional inputs, and then we can ask questions then, if that's fine.
Okay, I just want to go back to a conversation we had last time. Preferences, and I think we heard this amongst many board members, is that I guess, and I'm recalling last meeting, that we would prefer to hear from the applicant.
Hear
and
from them
then
first.
Staff fills in the blanks. But
We
you're
can-
teed up. Let's hear your presentation, EJ, and
Yeah.
Mr. Kulikowski,
Sure.
you can fill in the gaps. All right. Next time, I think that's what we were comfortable with from meetings past, so pre-Isabel. So I think we prefer that.
Okay, sounds good. Excellent. EJ Roach on the Planning and Economic Development Manager for the town of Orono. Providing information about a minor site plan review, 63 Bennick Road, January 21st, 2026. As you can see, the project description located 63 Bennick Road. Applicant is for a direct primary care office, Tim Kolakowski, Sunrise Family Medicine, minor site plan review, establishment of a home business, is located in the medium density residential MDR zone, tax map 19-4 lot 7. As you can see, it's a little tricky. You can see where it's located in this picture. It's kind of highlighted where the MDR, within the MDR zone, I just wanted to show you where it is located to other parts of downtown and other zoning, in the unlikely event that we were close to other zones and needed to make some adjustments for use. This is a sketch of the site plan. As you can see from your packet, the home office will be located on the second floor of an existing two-car garage. It was an apartment above. He's going to renovate that to become the home office. Town staff has visited the site, has provided some recommendations for egress, and changes to his original plan that would have impacted setback. The exterior staircase was going to come within 10 feet of an existing boundary, so we had them relocated out the back to allow for more space. So there's the site plan. The house, Bennick Road, is on the right, and you can see the additions of where the parking will be identified to scale. Additional egress, you received that in your packet, and we can come back and answer questions if there are specific, but we can go through. It is a home business considered a home occupation. This is an allowed use in the MDR zone. The use does not involve any new exterior construction or changes to the site. Minimum lot size requirement in this zone is 15,000 square feet. This current parcel is in excess of 20,470. Requires a minimum road frontage of 80 feet. We have approximately 100. So there are no changes to any dimensional aspect, setback, side, front, rear, etc. The home business will have one employee with the potential to add one additional employee. We thought it was important to include that in this proposal. So in the likely event if they did add employees, they wouldn't have to come back to planning board. So we're going to assume 2 at the most. And we did the requirements based on 2 employees. The home business is approximately 740 square feet of the overall 4,500 plus finished structure, meaning it's approximately 17 square feet of the overall structure, which meets the requirements of being 25% or less. The home business is likely to generate approximately 5 to 6 trip ends per day, consistent with the number of visitors, patients expected to be seen on the premise, traffic likely Monday through Friday. The off-street parking and loading located in this zone. This parcel requires 2 off-street parking spots for dwelling units with 2 or more bedrooms, and 1 off-street parking spot for every 250 feet of gross leasable square feet. This proposed use would require an additional 3 parking spots. And as you can see per the sketch to scale, and we have verified this with a visit from town staff on the property, this existing parking area can accommodate up to 5 parking stalls, which meets the standards provided or required within this section. The proposed change of use here will involve the addition of an external staircase to meet second means of egress. It will not impact any setback requirements, as I earlier mentioned. No additions or expansions to impervious surface. Use will take place in a single family dwelling, specifically the finished second floor of the garage. Entrance to the office is located in the rear of the garage. Traffic and pedestrian access. As noted above, applicant expects to see approximately 5 to 6 clients per day on days when business is open. Should be minimal impact to traffic. And the additional 5 spots are included in the site. No new buildings proposed. Therefore, these standards are not applicable. No storage materials on the external site. The home is located on public water and sewer. We confirmed with various municipal entities. Actually, the conversion of this from a one-bedroom apartment to a home occupation will actually reduce wastewater usage. Proposed change does not require any changes to existing utilities. Application has the capacity, no new major construction, just internal renovation, so he has the capacity to do so. We confirm the applicant has indicated they anticipate continuing to use municipal waste. There are no changes to the overall capacity. No additional bins will be permitted or needed. The applicant will contract with a licensed medical waste disposal company to handle all medical waste. Example, gloves, used gauze, needles, etc. That was confirmed by town staff. All noise will be required to adhere to the provisions of this section, including staying below sound limitations, including during any renovation. Due to the proposed project not involving the expansion or addition of any structures or impervious changes to the site, these criteria are stormwater management, erosion control, natural features, historic and archaeological resources, hazardous materials, and water quality are not applicable to this proposed project. So those are the technical items from the findings of fact that we reviewed and confirmed with staff. And then I can turn things over to Mr. Kolakowski, and he can talk a little bit more about his business, what he's doing, and sort of his impact on the community, and answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you.
Is your green light on?
Now it is. How about now? Okay. Hi, I'm Tim Kulikowski. I'm a family doctor. I live here in Orono. I've been here for about 18 years. In our current place for about 10. And I'm largely interested in making this change because, as Lisa and I were talking about this, sadly, healthcare has become incredibly frustrating and dysfunctional on a lot of levels. Frustrating for patients. It's hard to get in. It's hard to be seen when you need to be seen. It's disappointing because you often are rushed through visits. You don't have time to have all your issues addressed. And it's not always that way, but more often than it should be. And it's not only frustrating for patients, it's disappointing for doctors as well. Some more recent data showed that we're limited to about 25 to maybe a third of our day on direct patient care. The rest of it is chewed up on clerical and administrative tasks, which really don't contribute to patient care or clinical outcomes. It's just a requirement in the bureaucracy of our current system. And when you've put years of your life into training to become a physician and invested a lot of time and hundreds of thousands of dollars, when you get to the other end and you're prevented from spending your day doing the clinical care that you would like to offer patients, which they want and need, it's really disappointing. So, you know, you're stuck in the current system, but there is this model that's emerging. It's about 20 years old now. It's called direct primary care. And 20 years ago, there were just a handful of practices in the country. You could count them on one hand, but it's been growing rapidly. And there's several thousand now. There's quite a few in Maine, and they're growing. And what it does, it basically is it puts time back into the equation, and it flips that ratio. So the majority of your day is actually spent providing clinical care to your patients and meeting their needs, and the minority of your day is spent on administrative and clerical work, but it's work that you need to do to keep your office structured and running so that you have the framework to actually provide the clinical care. So, the model has been recognized by the American Academy of Family Physicians and other healthcare organizations as being a solution to a lot of the pain points for patients and doctors. It's been recognized as being ethical and sustainable. And I've got several classmates who I graduated from medical school with here in Maine who are doing it, and they're quite happy. They said, "Oh, we finally get to be doctors and not, data entry clerks, and we get to spend our time making a difference." And their patients are also pretty happy. So that's my motivation is, I'm trying to get myself in a situation where I have a satisfying, meaningful work situation, and I can make a positive impact on my patients' lives rather than be stuck in a situation where you're kind of forced to play a losing game and you just can't quite ever do everything that needs to be done because you're hamstrung in a situation that really leaves you with your hands tied behind your back. And it's a frustrating scenario. There's a lot of data. I don't know if you heard anything about it in the news, but they're always polling physicians. And this is largely why the physician job satisfaction's at an all-time low and burnout's at a record high. It's not because doctors don't work hard or have a problem with it. It's because we like our work to be valuable to our patients and to mean something. So the model is a nice fix. It's a win for patients and doctors because the satisfaction of both goes up. And when you introduce more time so that you can have a relationship with your patients and meet their needs from a medical standpoint, but also from just a bedside manner, personal relationship in the doctor-patient context, it's a lot more gratifying, and the clinical outcomes improve, and costs are lower as well. Because if you're putting the time in to catch things early, to prevent problems from getting worse, people do better, they're healthier, and the costs are lower. So it ends up just working. It kind of checks all the boxes. So I think you got in the material that I submitted, I tried to just do a brief comparison. Current system, Family Doc has about 2,000 patients. It sees about 20 to 25 a day. In direct primary care, I anticipate a patient panel of about 450 when I'm full, and it'll probably take me about 2 years to get there. So instead of 20 to 25 rush visits a day, and the minority of my day being providing clinical care, it'll be about 4 to 6 visits a day, and the majority of my day will be clinical care. And the 4 to 6 is people coming to the office. The rest of your day, you're actually providing care, but because you're not hamstrung by having to make people come to the office, you communicate with people via phone, text, email, FaceTime. So you can just do what needs to be done without having to drag people in. And largely the reason that you have to go to the office now is because that's the only way to get paid. So if you're putting time in, it's not reimbursed, and the hospital organization you work for is not happy about that. And you only have so many hours in the day. So
Do you have anything from the physical presentation that EJ gave us? Do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I wanted to make one clarification about employees. There initially will be none. They'll just be myself. And I'll have to just see how things go. If it seems like it will be valuable to have a medical assistant, I'll have just one person. working with me, a medical assistant. But I'll have to assess that. One of the reasons that I'm wanting to do this as a home occupation is I'm trying to keep this small and keep my overhead low so that my price points are low and I have just more freedom and more time to dedicate to patient care rather than logistics and business.
I heard EJ mention 2 employees, but you just clarified it's you and somebody else.
Yeah, at the most, I would have one other person.
Okay.
I don't know if it would be part-time or full-time.
In the application, I noticed, I guess we'll open it up for the board, but signage, you said you perhaps might have a sign, you will have a sign?
Yeah, I haven't quite worked that out. I know the ordinances allow for a maximum, I think it's 4 square feet. I don't think I would want anything that big.
Okay.
I may just put like a sign by or over the entrance door. I'm not going to be like a walk-in clinic or, open to the public trying to drum up business with a sign in the front. Essentially, once people come the first time and they know where it is, they'll know how to get there. It'll probably just be more for clarity. So if I had a sign, it would be, probably a little sign in the front yard as just an indicator, and something pretty low key because it's a neighborhood. So I really don't want to disrupt the residential feel.
You have seen the standards. I think there's no phone numbers, if I remember. I don't think you can,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of our stipulations is it's gonna be approved by the code officer, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I know it's like there's no lights, there's no like reflectors. It's just, just a small discrete sign.
So you mentioned in your presentations, talked about no exterior changes, but you did say after that you're adding stairs out back, but is that just a door or you're not?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
anything internal that you're modifying?
yeah, there's 2 things. The IRC, the International Residential Code, requires 36 inches of clear width on a stairs, and the bottom 2 treads of the stairs are a couple inches shorter than that, and that's because the foundation is mostly below grade, but there's about 18 inches above grade, so there's a little bit of a bump out. So thankfully it's not a load bearing wall, it's a partition wall that will get moved over a couple inches. This way it'll ensure a 36-inch run up the whole stairs, and that'll comply with code. And the other change is you can't really have a window with a ladder. You can with an apartment, but if you have any kind of clientele there, it requires a door with stairs. So basically, it will just be, a staircase out the back to provide a second egress.
Anybody else?
I don't have anything.
I drive by there several times a day on my way to work. So I just noticed one of your pictures talks about the walkout basement door, and it looks like it's a picture of the house. So,
Yeah, that is.
so I was confused. So walkout basement door, my understanding, you're not doing anything in your house. It's all in the garage.
Yeah, that I provided those pictures in the context of showing that the basement was finished, because there was initial question about the square footage of the house.
Oh, and the percentages.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of percentages. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, there will be nothing in the house. It's
Okay,
just
yeah, I
a
saw that
second
and I was
floor.
confused because I understood it to
Yeah.
be in the garage. Okay. All right, I don't really have any other questions. Anybody else before we open it up?
Just.
Yep.
Like, you're not advertising to the public off the street?
So just say I'm visiting in town and my child breaks his wrist and I'm looking for a doctor real fast. I wouldn't pull into your place.
I suppose in theory you could, but typically if, if somebody has a broken wrist, you're going to need an x-ray and the office wouldn't really be the
But
place.
I don't know
to
it's
get that.
broken yet.
Well, yeah, so and that's a good point. So I'm actually not going to be trying to advertise like, hey, come on in.
So your clients are gonna be word of mouth, basically, one patient. It'll be word of mouth for your clients?
Yeah,
patients?
largely.
Okay.
Largely, I'll put up a website and, I'll put out the word. And then if people are interested, then what I'll do is, I'll have people come for like a no charge meet and greet, and I can explain the model and, what I do and what I don't do and how things work. And if it works for people, then they're welcome to sign on or give it a shot.
I wasn't questioning the model. The model doesn't really pertain to us. I was just trying to think of the flow of your traffic coming in and out if we don't know what kind of a practice it is right away.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be a family doctor's office, but I'm just going to be serving patients who are established with me rather than, running like a walk-in clinic or anything like that.
Okay.
So, he did address ADA, because you'd have to meet ADA requirements, but it sounded like you had a workaround that if somebody was handicapped, your immediate solution would be you'd go to them.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
something came to it, you might install one of those, the chairlift.
Yeah, if it
whatever.
turned out to be practically
Stairlift.
useful, but that's one of the nice things with this model is you can do home visits. You're not on the hamster wheel, so you have time to meet patients where they're at. And so if I have a potential patient who is wheelchair bound, obviously I can't afford a couple $100,000 to install an elevator, but I can do a home visit.
Supplies, anything like that? You're not gonna have delivery trucks? Are you gonna just do that yourself? Yeah.
If anything comes, it's obviously going to be small volume. So I can't imagine, I'm going to be having any big trucks pulling in.
Okay.
So,
Again, usually when we get home occupations, because we allow, because we support the business, it's part of our comp plan, trying to be a bit more flexible to open up just what you're doing. People can use their houses, but at the same time, you live in a neighborhood, so you need to understand that impact. And I just asked, or we asked that
yeah.
you understand that, again, Orono is supporting what you're doing, but you're going to be opening up a business in a neighborhood. So understand that you've got to be respectful of that. So,
Oh, no, I certainly, my goal is to have this, as low impact and discreet as possible. I mean, we've had an apartment there. There's been an apartment there for decades, even before we moved in. So, it's in some sense being used for commerce, right? There's a tenant who lives there who goes in and out. So, the hours are basically going to be office hours during the weekdays. So it's, 1/3 of the day versus, 3/3 of the day and during the weekdays. So, it should be pretty low volume, but I'm not anticipating any, big trucks or deliveries or anything like that.
okay. All right, you good? All right, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Invite you to step up to the mic and tell us if, proponents, opponents, what your concerns are.
Hi, I'm Travis Baker. I live at 67 Bennick Road, so next door neighbor. I'd be a little bit further down the road. First I want to say I admire Tim's aims and I admire what he's trying to do. I don't think this is the place to do it. I think there's other.
Speak up a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
Right.
I'll do the theater voice. All right.
Yeah.
I just say I admire Tim's aims. I admire what he does. My older son once had a bike accident and Tim fixed him up. So I do appreciate that. I don't think this is the place to do this. I feel like there's options in town. There may be offices available. What am I talking about? I understand the zoning permits it. Actually, I understand that today. But it is a residential neighborhood. There are no businesses between the chiropractic office, the post office, and the Orono Commons. There's people who host various things, they work from home, but there's no established businesses in this area. I'm concerned that one business, as laudable as it is, might lead to other businesses, which would create more traffic, more noise. If I want to open a chainsaw sculpture school, is that allowed? If my neighbor Corey wants to do an auto repair in his backyard, is that allowed? So I'm concerned that once we start this, more happens. I'm also concerned about expansion. We need physicians. Patients are going to come. There was just an article in the Bangor Daily News today about how many patients are waiting months, for doctors. So the business is going to be there. What happens if he feels like he needs to expand it? How much? And there's a chicken coop there that's going to go away. There's room to expand. So allowing this to start, is it going to grow and grow and grow? And I also want to address the fact that we're losing housing. In the Bangor Daily News article last week, the Orono plan was for more housing, more single occupancy residents. And this is taking away one of those. It's also taking away from one of our most valuable citizens, Ches Cherry, who's lived there for 21 years, and he's being forced to move back to England. We're losing that. And is that going to happen to more residences? And he's moving because he can't find affordable housing here in Orono. This is one of the stated goals of, Orono Future, and we're losing residents. We're gaining a business in a place. Maybe there's other options. Also, I'd like to know what those X's are on the site.
On the site sketch?
Yeah,
Are you talking about the vegetation?
is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
So that would be the
that's-
border of my house. And
That's either trees, landscaping, vegetation.
so there's
I
a
don't see-
hedgerow there.
I think
Yeah.
that's what that is. Yep.
Is that
Coniferous
staying or going?
trees.
Or is that,
Yeah,
or is there a fence gonna go there?
Yeah, it says row of cedars.
yeah. Coniferous trees, row of cedars, yep. So
Is that
the
staying?
surveyor- Surveyor picked that up.
Right. So I'm just wondering what from my property, what it's gonna look like. Are those staying there? Is there gonna be fencing? Is there gonna be,
Which, which,
okay. I just hadn't
Which
seen
is
that.
that-
I was like, I had no idea what the.
yeah, we need everything on the record, so we'll get responses in a minute, so.
All right. That's all I have. I
Okay.
appreciate what he's doing. I feel like it could be done over there. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right, so we'll talk about a couple things. You mentioned and I brought it up before, that the town is encouraging. We've been trying to come up with ways to be more flexible, to encourage businesses to come to town. And one of the ways that we've done that is to promote or allow more home occupations, home businesses, and we have different classifications of those. Doctor's offices, we've approved 2, 3, 4 of these over the past many years now.
Some in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
the-
the noise drive.
Through there, yeah.
Yeah, so there are some fairly close by, but it's an initiative that the town has undertaken as part of our comprehensive plan to be a little bit more flexible. You are correct on the housing aspect. I'm not sure what to say about that. My understanding, just listening to them, that there aren't gonna be any impacts to buffers, any screening, so in listening to you and looking at the site plan, no changes to the facility. Yeah, listening to them, I don't think you're gonna see any physical changes to, that structure. Your stairways out back, so that would be screened, I think, from your residence right next door. So that's my understanding. Any improvements, if he develops enough business to potentially expand, that goes against what we approved, and he'd be back before the town. And at that point, who knows, maybe you're gonna wanna move somewhere else. But we're just looking at the proposal before us with no building improvements, no impacts on screening, buffers, anything like that. So, anything to add?
I mean, I think it's always good to say that
Yeah.
we don't get to pick and choose what we want or don't want.
Yeah.
We follow the ordinance, and it's pretty much a black and white. Either you satisfy the ordinance and the rules or you don't. And a lot of what you spoke to is not liking the rules, which I can understand, but we don't decide the rules. We just say whether it meets the rules or not, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
So,
That's a-
yeah,
that's a good point.
we're supposed to be unopinionated.
All right. Other questions?
Joanna. My real name is Joanna Kraus, on the other side of Tim. And I have a few of the similar reservations as Travis, particularly just, I guess I'm curious about if there's a way, like I am confident that Tim's going to make it nice and try to make it as quiet and residentially feeling as possible. But I'm concerned about the future too. Not only what this opens up for our block and our neighborhood, but also like, what if you move away, something happens and you decide to leave and someone else comes in and, I'm not sure, you talk about how he'll have to come back if he wants to expand, but I don't know how much easier it is to do that once something's in play and how I guess everything is within code. I know that you're not allowed to have a medical office in this MDR, but this is a home office, so it's different. But I'm curious, like in terms of how much bigger it could be. Like he's only asking for a certain amount, but so what does this mean in terms of like you okay this, and then what happens if
If he had to expand the structure, you have to come back and do a site plan review and engage a lot of the things that we said were not applicable, right?
Yep.
Stormwater management planning, engaging an engineering firm.
Yeah.
It would make this, which is a pretty straightforward, simplistic thing, into a booklet that thick. And multiple sessions of review, it would be a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
If he was going to expand the structure. That's my understanding.
And he's at he can only be 25% of his existing square footage, and he's at 17%.
Right. So it makes his house bigger too.
So he'd have to make his house bigger, which he may be with lot coverage and other items, he may not be able to expand. So he's pretty close to where he can be now.
Okay.
As far as this approval stays with him, we're approving his business.
Yeah.
So that if somebody else bought that house that,
Yeah. What does happen?
interesting question. So with the approval would go with the lot or I'm thinking about that. Huh?
It would have to be a doctor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Be the same kind of,
exact same
The
kind
same
of business, but you're not,
Mhm.
something very similar, but the point in it, our ordinances would be pretty clear on that, that you're not gonna turn into a a chainsaw store or something like that. Anything like that, a drastic change, somebody would have to come back before us. We're, again, trying to be more flexible, but at the same time, as I said, recognizing that this is in a neighborhood and, we try to do the best job we can of making things fit within our, as Judd said, our rules. So,
If issues arise, you go to the code enforcement officer.
yep.
Right.
Noise, yeah,
Right.
if,
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know, there has been, I know you can't help it. There's been a lot of noise with the whole earthwork that you did and the, trucks coming in and out. But I'm assuming that's not going to continue as much now that this is, I mean, it's not just you, it's across the bridge too, but
And then point for that.
all right.
yeah.
Can I ask you, Tim, to step up and if you want to add anything to our response? Are you finished? Okay, yeah, could you please address any of these comments or you want to add to that
Yeah.
on the record?
No, I appreciate, hearing your thoughts, and I think, if I were a neighbor, I would probably have those same questions and concerns. When I brought this issue up, the first person I had to get on board was my wife, who, and, once, because she was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. And then when I explained how different the practice is and how different the model is, and it's really the opposite of the current system where it's essentially a patient mill. This is slow and deliberate, and you've got a handful of people coming per day, and it's spaced out over the course of 8 hours. So, there's generally going to be like one person there at a time. They'll pull in, park, go in the building, be there for 30 minutes or an hour, and then pull away. So it's going to be low key, which is the goal. And if it unfolded in such a way that it was busier than I anticipated, it obviously wouldn't work in our place anymore. And, I would want to move it somewhere else. Because I'd like to stay married. So
That's fairly typical in the ones we've approved before, one patient at a time. So it's one car in, one car out. That was the most recent one in the Noise Drive neighborhood over there. So that, yes, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
So yeah, and I can imagine a scenario where if there may be temporarily for 5 minutes 2 cars there. If somebody stayed late, somebody came early, but they're just leaving, and no one will really be outside, so it's it's going to be pretty quiet. Yeah, I mean, I've done my due diligence and looked at the numbers and talked to people who have done this, and these numbers are fairly typical. But if I were ended up seeing 15 people a day, which I can't imagine because that's really not a thing, I think it'd be hard to imagine how that would be viable in my space. But if I got going and reached capacity, at least I would have proof of concept, and it would be a lot easier to go lease space somewhere. Part of the thinking is that the model is new and it's different. So rather than go invest a bunch of money in building out a space, and it's been hard because I looked for quite a few months trying to find a space. There aren't very many suitable spaces available that don't require a build out. And it's hard to dump a bunch of money in a building that isn't yours, that you're leasing, because I've had friends who have businesses and they put in a bunch of money and then the owner sells it or doesn't want to renew the lease, and then they're out all that money. So I guess in a scenario where outgrew the space, at least then I would say, okay, I have a viable practice. I can take it somewhere else. But I really wouldn't want it there if it were busy and noisy and the volume was high.
Okay. Any additional questions? Now's your chance. Yeah.
Hello. Justin Kraus, I'm at 61 Bennick.
What?
Really, sorry?
Could you speak up, please?
Sorry.
Right into that microphone.
All right, Justin Kraus, I'm at 61
There.
Bennick Road.
Thank you.
Really a clarification, and I apologize for missing this, but it's just regarding parking. Was all the parking mentioned off-street or on-street?
Off-street,
Okay,
there's 3 parking spaces to scale
Right.
on the site plan. One's to the side of the garage,
okay, I just
and
missed,
2 behind the house.
okay. That was the only thing I missed, that they were all off-street, because
Yep.
for some reason, I started thinking that they were on, and that's why I'm asking this question, because that wouldn't really work for the Bennick Road. No, so my apologies. That was the only question. I appreciate what you're trying to do, and thanks, Travis, for your time, and Jody for making some comments. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Anybody online? Nobody online. Last call for public comment. We close the public hearing. Limit to further questions from the board.
I have one, and I think I know the answer. I take it you're not going to offer any laboratory services.
No, I will.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it will be. It will be.
So you're going to be drawing blood on the premises?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll be doing it myself. Yeah.
Mhm.
Have fun.
Other questions? All right. So we do have proposed findings of fact, but there are several in the packet. There are several items mentioned not applicable. I don't remember doing waiver requests for a home occupation, but
No.
it was called out in the materials that I believe I saw a waiver request in there somewhere. So I don't know procedurally whether we have to act on that first. I just want to make sure we had addressed it, but I did.
We can call out number 11.
Yep.
I think that's where they're enumerated, is what you're suggesting. Is
Yeah.
a waiver.
Yeah, I mean, there was several, when I read through the items, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but if we need to vote on waiver request that proceeds,
Do you want me to make a motion to?
let's
vote
do
on
it, just cover
I move that we vote on a waiver request for the following items: stormwater management, section 18-177H, erosion control, section 18-177I, natural features, section 18-177M, groundwater protection, water quality, section 18-177N, and O, hazardous materials, section 18-177P, historic and archaeological resources, section 18-177T, and floodplain management, section 18-177U, for the minor site plan review application for home occupation at 63 Bennick Road, tax map 19-4, lot 7.
Very good, thank you.
Second.
Yes. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? All right, next up, we do have proposed findings of fact that were prepared for this application. I think we're ready for a motion on that as well.
You looking at me?
Somebody grab it.
Okay. I move to approve the minor site plan review application of Timothy Kulikowski, received November 13th, 2025, to establish a home occupation, home medical office within one of the existing structures at 63 Bennick Road, tax map 19-4, lot 7, per the findings of fact dated January 21st, 2026, subject to the following conditions. I don't have to read those, do I?
No, as long as they're in the proposed findings of fact. So just note them, I guess, yeah.
Noted in the proposed finding of fact.
that works. Any further discussion? Krista, you had a question on proposed findings of fact.
Having a little bit of trouble hearing everything, so.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not pouncing in on something that somebody's already said.
Yeah.
But, I guess I'm still a little confused about where the where those stairs are going to be. If they're gonna be built on the outside of the house, then I don't think we should be saying in the first item, requirements of the district, that this does not include any new exterior construction.
I brought that up earlier too, and it sounded like the stairs out back to create that second egress. It sounded relatively minor, but that was, I caught that exact same point. So what's the answer?
We understood that it would not be like a covered or enclosed stairwell, so just an exterior staircase that
Okay,
would
they're
not.
just accessible
Yep.
from the outside,
Correct.
but no exterior building, no addition. Did you hear that?
Okay, so the staircase is gonna be built, but nothing else?
There's, apparently a second egress is gonna be created in the back of the building, and I was looking at that point, so there's a little sidewalk that goes around the back on his property side that goes around so they could access the rear of the building. And it's not gonna be exterior construction, I think it's just a doorway and they can go up. If you wanna elaborate on that?
Yeah,
Up there, please.
At them.
so it's really not going to be used with any regularity. It's just the code requires you to have two egresses.
Okay.
So there'll be a door put in the wall that will open up, and then you'll go to a little landing, down a few steps to a little landing, and then back to the building. So it's exterior stairs. So they're open stairs, uncovered, and it's that simple. You open a door and then you go down the stairs.
Is that okay? We're not talking about major additions. He's just gonna modify the entrance a little bit, so they have a second egress, and then knock out that wall so that it meets the.
I have no problems with that happening.
Yeah.
It's just, it strikes me that since we refer to constructing these steps on the outside.
Yeah.
That we should not be saying in the findings of fact that there will be, does not involve any exterior construction.
Okay, can we modify?
Say any major exterior construction or something to let the.
No
steps
structural
slide.
construction.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Let's modify that motion so that that's clarified. So no significant, I mean, that's pretty vague.
Where's the,
No, it's not in the motion.
right, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to find where it is even in here.
Okay.
Okay,
under
oh, here it
capacity
is.
of
The
applicant, it
applicant
says
has
there's
indicated there
no
be no
major
change to the
construction.
appearance of the structure except for a sign. So yeah, it's just the top of page.
Yeah, just minimal modifications to allow us a second egress in the rear of the building. But how about that?
Good.
All right, can somebody, because I'm not modifying the motion, can somebody?
I made the motion. so
Okay.
I can't modify it.
Before we do that, in the motion, it says within one of the existing structures. Do we have to specify which structure? Because does that give them the option to?
No, because
No.
we've been zeroed in on the
where it's
one
gonna be?
building.
Okay.
All right.
We have a motion. And now I'm modifying the motion. I don't know.
Well, somehow we gotta clarify that. Krista brought it up. Let's just add it and keep moving.
And which item, where does it say no new construction? Because I see no new major construction under item A. I don't see no new construction.
I'm looking right here. The applicant has indicated there will be no changes to the appearance of the structure except for
So page 2 of 4.
very top. After
The
C,
applicant has indicated there'll be no changes except for a sign. So I think that's what Chris is referring to, that there's no,
No changes to the appearance, not that there's no new construction.
Yeah.
That there's no changes to the appearance, is that, is,
Yeah, number 8 says no new major construction.
exactly, which is correct.
Right.
But I'm trying to find out, Krista, you're calling out, is it this, there's no changes to the appearance? Where'd you see no new construction? What page?
It's in item 1 of requirements of the district and town ordinances and code.
middle of
the paragraph.
No, I see.
It says.
Any new exterior construction will not involve any new exterior construction, okay. I move that we amend the
there we go.
motion to include a modification to the finding of fact, item 1, to change the language, not involve any new exterior construction, 2, not involve any new significant construction.
Okay,
Good.
that takes
Okay.
care of it.
Thank you.
Any
Any additional comment? All right, let's hear it.
Okay, in home occupations, A on the second page, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines up. We're talking about, trip ends per day here, and, it says is not likely to generate, is likely to generate approximately 5 to 6 trip ends per day. Actually, it should be 10 to 12, because when they arrive, that's one trip end,
Yep.
and when they
Yeah.
leave, that's another trip end.
Could we just remove ends? So it's just 5 to 6 trips?
That's fine.
I'm gonna make another motion to the original motion, which is to modify the finding of fact.
Can I just, the trip ends are when somebody shows up. We don't count it twice. So you're suggesting that when somebody comes and somebody leaves, it's 2 trips. Trip ends are defined by it coming there.
So the
One time.
definition is you
Yes.
arrive.
You arrive.
Okay,
That's a trip end.
all right, so we're
That's-
good with that one.
That one's, so you don't get to count, it doesn't count twice. So just to clarify that.
I looked it up to be sure.
Okay, so you disagree with Mitch's?
That's how it's always, that's how we have been.
It's another trip end. So any coming and going.
Yeah.
I mean, just look it up.
Yeah, I understood actually, just I took my one transportation class at engineering school, but I recall more on what Krista is saying, but
Okay.
trip ends, but
I think
Either way,
that's how
he
we have
said-
defined it
yeah.
in the
okay.
past is,
Let's just say,
Right there,
so
but if
he
you wanna-
said 5, it was 5 to 6,
how about arrivals, 5 to 6 arrivals?
5 to 6 patients per day.
Yeah,
Yeah, why don't we just focus on,
right. No, I think that takes care of it.
Yep.
And not quibble.
Estimating 4 to 6
Yep.
Yeah, we're just talking language here.
yeah, it's just the minutia of
Yeah.
just making sure that our ordinance is covered. So do we need to modify that? or-
Yes, I think we just change, I move that we change the motion, amend the motion again to change the finding of fact, item 1A. The line, this home business is likely to generate approximately 5 to 6 trip ends per day, to this home business is likely to generate approximately 5 to 6 arrivals per day.
There we go.
Just get rid of the line.
Hey,
Okay. there we
Nice.
go.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Further comment? All those in favor? All right. Moving on, town planners report. EJ, we have a status review of the comprehensive plan, and I do want to add an item based on our discussion today. I know I'm doing this on the fly, but I want to talk about procedure and materials prepared for the board. So I'll let you go first, and then I want to talk about process.
Thank you. Just wanted to give this group an update on the comprehensive plan. It was approved by the town council at the January 12th, 2026 meeting. It's been submitted to the state for review. I just wanted to sort of talk a little bit about the sort of 30,000-foot view about the comprehensive plan. I know there's been discussion about making sure that this plan, the amount of work, the time and effort that went into creating it, the community engagement, all the work from the volunteers and staff to put it together. We want to make sure we're utilizing that document and making sure it doesn't sit on a shelf somewhere and kind of sit there and look pretty. And then in another 10 years, we'll do the same process. Our office wants to make sure that we're taking that plan and using it as a guiding document for the community. And particularly, I don't know if we've been taking a look at the implementation matrix that Isabel and the team put together. Very specific initiatives and things that do impact the work of this board. I quickly took a look, and 35% of the actions in here involve working with the planning board. So we want to just kind of sort of elevate that to the idea that as some of the recommendations in the comp plan encourage us to adjust or take a look, obviously, at our land use ordinances, some other ordinances that will help us align with the comprehensive plan. It will take some significant work. Maddie and I did some sort of working backwards a little bit, and to make any changes to ordinances does require a significant amount of time, starting here, going to the council, public hearings, 30 days between announcing things. So it does take quite a bit of time. So we want to make sure we have an organized approach so that we understand deadlines about putting out public notices, making sure we get the proper community input when we're looking to change some of those ordinances. So I just kind of give you that high level version that we're going to put get together, almost a schedule of kind of where once we start or as we look to make some changes, some key deadlines, and making sure we're in coordination with the council meetings and those types of items. So just wanted to put that out there, and we'll make sure to inform you. And despite we anticipate some projects coming before the board, but it might be a good idea just to kind of think once we get into that process of adjusting some of those ordinances or making changes, we'll probably be calling the board regardless of any other. My hope is that we'll have projects as well coming before you, but we'll have to meet to move along some of those changes in the public hearing. So.
Great. Thank you, EJ. Along that topic, do we have anything for February?
We have had no submitted applications for February.
Okay.
No,
so at this point, with our timing, we will not be having a meeting?
Probably not. Most likely not.
Thank you. Any questions for EJ? All right. So I would like to talk about process. So we talked about this the last time, and what the board decided is that, and this is how we've historically done things, is that the burden should be on the applicant to present their project to us. So whether it's the University of Maine with Toby Michaud, put the burden on them. They present the project, town staff can fill in the gaps. And not that you don't have to have a presentation if you so choose, but I'd like to hear from the applicant what they're proposing. I don't, and I've never seen this. I've been on both sides of this bench with projects, but typically it's not the town staff doing all the work. I want to hear from the applicant to tell us what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And then based on your thorough review, you fill in the gaps. So what I would like to do is request that the applicant present to us what they're going to do. And then I would turn to you, and then you highlight just issues that they might have glossed over or just chosen not to present, something like that. But
Mhm.
I want to make sure that we hear from them in
Yep.
their words. And then you're going to, again, highlight significant issues. Isabel did it, the reverse way and was very detailed. But I think we had a consensus last time that we'd like to hear more from the applicant
Mhm.
and less work for you.
Yeah.
The other thing, probably the most significant change, and I think you'd agree with this, Judd, and Lisa as well, the people that have been on this board the longest. The most important thing for this board for projects that we've seen is that review packet. So it's usually about a 2 or 3 page project summary going through all of the items, which includes, this is different than the findings of fact.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is go back 2 meetings or several meetings and see that document that's prepared. So even if you didn't have a chance to read anything in the application, you read those 2 or 3 pages, you're gonna know what we're talking about. So that includes, standard conditions, additional items that you might have found. But basically you go through all of the items in a packet and we get about a 3-page summary. That's how what?
Yes.
Yeah, planners, yeah. Yeah, that's a must. I've been on this board a long time and it used to be kind of like this. And that puts a lot of burden on the planning board members.
Well, we didn't even have findings of fact. It
No,
used to
yeah,
just be,
we did-
here's
yeah.
all the junk.
Right, and it was just,
Have fun.
yeah, that document is the biggest help for this board.
Agreed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's just gotta be a requirement from town staff. All of that packet, so is the summary, but then all the letters, all the approvals from, whether it's treatment plant, water district, whatever, all of that information is gonna be in our packet, but I need less of your presentation or even Isabel's presentation. If the materials that you give us and we have a chance to review them, that's usually pretty sufficient. I found Isabel's, it was very thorough, but at times if it went on for like 20 minutes,
It was redundant.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was very thorough.
Right, but we
But
read
it
the
just-
material.
Yeah.
Now we're just hearing it. Yeah, I agree.
So that's on process. Are we okay with that?
Fine by me.
I totally agree. Today, if we didn't have Ed's slight presentation for us, we wouldn't have got enough out of Tim.
No.
He sold us his practice, to
Oh,
get us
yeah,
to
yeah,
be-
yeah, yeah.
to get us to be his customer, but
Yeah, yeah.
but I didn't get anything from Tim as to what he was gonna do for the
Right.
office and all that.
Right, so that's fine, but if he was prepared, because I think he didn't expect to do much, but I think in a normal setting, we want to hear from the applicant, hey, tell us what's going on, and then.
We did tell him to
One
pitch it.
to this, after we decided, I got to thinking about it next day or so. And suddenly I realized that this presentation doesn't do much for us. We've read all the material.
Yeah.
And, we don't really need it. But if it's at all controversial, and we have a lot of people sitting out there, it's very helpful to them.
That's unfortunate, Chris. That's a good point.
But there's a limit. For some of the projects, I think there's a limit to that presentation. We've gotten by for, Krista, you and I have been on this board, and Judd and Lisa, some of us have been on here a long time. And, every single I dotted in that presentation, I don't think it needs to be that thorough. I think you can
I don't-
focus on key issues, but I've seen other planning boards, I've presented to them, and I just still think the burden should be on the applicant.
The burden
to
should
do
be on
stuff.
the applicant. The challenge is if the
Yeah.
applicant does a horrible presentation.
Yeah.
But they've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's.
Yeah.
We're obligated to approve them, yet they convince nobody
Yeah,
that we should approve them. So that is a conundrum. I don't have a great answer for it because I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not for the staff to take the time and effort to create a presentation.
I
But-
think the staff, I think you guys can do a lot of that work ahead of time to figure out what that line is. So if we've got a project that we know is gonna generate a lot of interest, maybe you have something teed up for us, but I don't think for a home occupation that you need any presentation. I just don't.
The one thing I would add, I agree, and I think it's fantastic for staff to do less. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
All right.
From a standpoint of, it takes a lot of time, and I did it once, and I know what we went through,
Yeah, and
okay?
we talked about it
Yeah,
after. Yeah.
but I think one of the challenges with something like a home occupation is you've got somebody that has no engineering degree, is coming with a business that we're trying to squeeze out of them the information that they need to be able to do this. That's the concern, I think, is they get up here and they tell you they're going to tell you passionately about their practice, but
Yeah.
you guys are like, that's great, but all this. But I think if with the combination of the planning report, you guys have that information and filling in the blanks, if there are questions, I think that can work, right? But I think when you get, a big, project with WBRC up here, they do this all the time.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to say, know exactly what the pinch points are and all that stuff. I think where the challenge sometimes comes is these smaller projects because, he knows what he wants to do for business, but he has no idea how to explain all the nuances of that,
Yeah, he's not a member of the planning board. He doesn't know what we're expecting.
Right. So I think that's the only caveat that I think that's where your planner is going to have to rely on if there are questions that come up. Oh, yep, this is addressed here. They didn't, filling in the blanks.
Right.
But in general, I think this is a good idea. I'm just saying when you get people like a home occupation where they're not, it's written on, it's hand drawn and to scale and things like that. It's hard for them to communicate what you guys and even maybe people here want to hear.
So I'm just wondering if there's a happy medium. So
Yeah.
I think EJ and Maddie having slides ready, because you're gonna want to see the site plan. And I think some key issues where it's oriented, those kinds of things, because we could have flashed that up on the screen so that he's wondering what those stars were and you could see the site. Maybe just a happy medium, somewhere in between what Isabel was doing and nothing. I don't know whether there are other thoughts, but
Yeah, I mean, I think partly is you guys know what we need to approve, right? And so you can perhaps outline that a little bit for the applicant. And the other thing is, I was really glad, Judd, that you mentioned about what our job is,
Yeah.
because I think people are continually confused about
Yeah,
that.
they think we're.
That's right.
deciding what we
That's
think.
right. So,
I used to say that a lot, but Judd always is good. When I don't say it,
Yeah.
jump in.
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know whether that should be somewhere in writing so that the public,
Yeah,
when
we
they,
said no before.
yeah,
Oh,
No one retained out. No one retained.
Oh.
like the.
all right. Well, anyway, is it, yeah, okay, see? It's
No
pro-
one, I can promise you, no one read it.
Yeah,
And yeah.
well, yeah,
So
we have talked a lot when people will call about public comment and understanding those things. This is what the board does. This is how, and if you have a public comment, these are the ones you have to do that could change something. Because you don't like something is not unfortunately is not something that the board can go, oh, you don't like it, we're going to overturn that.
Yeah.
Or you can't do
Mhm.
it.
So what we can do, I mean, Isabel, it was a whole new approach, and by all means, I'm open to almost anything. I have my preferences after doing this for a while, so why don't we we can evolve over time. Let's just try some things and, you guys are new to this. Isabel is not here anymore, so let's just proceed and tweak as we need to, if that makes sense, but less on the upfront, depends on the project. If you think we need to fill in a lot of the gaps, maybe you have several slides teed up, but that we can just kind of make our way through this.
See if anyone runs into a wall.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we all set on process?
Worst case scenario, we would have just sent Tim back for another meeting and said, we don't have enough information.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
all he gave us was what he was talking about.
yeah, right.
Hopefully, we didn't give him a marketing plans by a show of hand that yes, his business is gonna take off.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, good, thank you. Next up, adjournment. Have a motion?
so moved.
All right, second, anybody?
Second.
All right, second, comments? None, all those in favor? Yeah. See you in March.